pronunciation. I explained how mother tongue influence is not a factor, but regional influence is a factor. We spoke about the phonetics, how city and cat being words that is starting with the same letter, giraffe and gadget starting with the same letter but carries two different pronunciation or two different sounds. City starts with a s sound and cat starts with a k sound. Giraffe starts with a j sound and gadget starts with a g sound. And I explained to you why does this happen. It's because of English being a non-phonetic language. I explained how there are different languages which are phonetic, which means the way we spell, the way we pronounce, both are same. But when it comes to English language, the way we pronounce and the way we spell could be different. I gave you certain examples like put is put, but but is but, it's not but. So the examples that I spoke earlier, city, cat, giraffe, gadget, likewise we can have tons of examples where a particular letter may not have the same kind of pronunciation which may exist in any other word, and that is because it's a non-phonetic language. And I introduced what exactly is the reason because of which this happens. That's because of English language has different consonant sounds and vowel sounds. I explained the letters, how we have 26 letters in English alphabet system, 21 consonant and 5 vowels, but we have 24 consonant sound and 5 vowel sound. So today I am going to explain what a consonant sound is, and I will also explain the 24 consonant sounds with examples. So let's begin. So consonant sounds are the manner of articulation is how air escapes from the vocal tract when the consonant or approximant, that is vowel-like sound, is made. Manners include stops, fricatives and nasals. The place of articulation is wherein the vocal tract, the obstruction of the consonant occurs and which speech organ is involved. And vowel sound are pretty straightforward. It's a speech sound that is made with no obstruction of the vocal tract. Now when you read this particular definition on the left and as well as right, it's pretty complex to understand what does it mean. Now when we look at the various consonant sounds, it's going to become easy for you. Okay, so like I said, there are 26 letters in English alphabet, but there are 24 consonant sounds and 15 vowel sounds. So please make a note of this. Even though there are 21 consonants, but there are 24 consonant sounds. You need to understand how consonant is different from consonant sounds and how vowels are different from vowel sounds. You need to master this combination of 24 plus 15 in order to be perfect with the pronunciation aspect. Alright, so these are the sounds in English language as far as consonant sounds are concerned. I'm going to tell you how to pronounce these sounds. What I would suggest, if you're watching this on Mana TV Live, or if you're watching this on YouTube, if you're watching it YouTube Live or a repeat on YouTube, if you get the link and if you want to play it again, the way we're going to practice or the way we're going to understand this is I'm going to read each and every sound and then I will pronounce how it is done. Okay, alright, let's start the first line. The first line is, it's not P, it is P. So it's P, then it's B, T, D, K, G. Let me repeat. P, B, T, D, K, G. Second line, CH is pronounced as ch. So it's ch, j, th, the, s, z, sh, j. I repeat, ch, j, th, the, s, z, sh, j. Fourth line, f, v, w. So there is a difference between the V and W. I'll explain to you once we reach there. It's F, V, W, H, R, Y, L, and the last line M or M, N, and Ng. Any word that ends with ing, this sound exists there. Now when you look at these 24, it's pretty confusing. You wouldn't be able to figure how to pronounce these. So I will include examples to help you understand how to pronounce these sounds. Alright, let's start. The first one, I want to start with the first line. I'm going to make a mention of this here. Here we go. So if you look at these examples, every sound I have mentioned 3 examples. In the first example, the sound is in the beginning. The second example, the sound is in the middle. And the third one, the sound is in the end. Okay, so let's start. It's pot, P as in pot, topple, top. Alright, now let me add some more words so that you can understand it. So I'm going to reduce this font size so that I can add more examples with the P sound for you. Alright, let's start. Picture, print, puddle. Puddle means whenever there is a water stagnation on the roads, like in a small hole or pothole, that's called a puddle. It's not poodle, it's puddle. Paint. Now I'm going to use certain words where the sound is in the middle. Topple, which we have already used. Couple. People. Shopping, where P is in the middle. Drop, now this sound is in the end. Stop. Top I have already used. Shop, where the sound is in the end. So wherever you see the letter P, you will have a P sound, but there is an exception. For example, if the word is photograph, so here even though we have the letter P, but it's not a photograph. We don't say photograph, we say photograph, because we have PH. Okay. Now next one is B. For example, bat, bubble, cab. Let me give you examples, some more examples for this particular sound. Brick, biscuit, brim, basket. All right. Now examples where the sound is in the middle. Trouble, cobble, double. Now here the sound is in the middle, the B sound. Now examples where the sound is in the end. drib, crib, nib like the fountain pen nib, crab, we have crab. Okay, so some examples where the sound is in the beginning, sound is in the middle, and the sound is in the end. Now the next one is t sound. So let's look at certain words. Table, bitter, pot. Likewise, what you need to do is you need to come up with more such examples. I just showed you how to build more examples. When you do this exercise, you end up working on your vocabulary as well. So table, bitter, pot, desk, advice, loud, kite, disclose, mask. Now when you look at this particular example, disclose, you notice the letter K is not there, but you do have the sound. So you need to be very sure you're looking at the sound and not the letter. Okay, let's have certain example where the letter will not be there but the sound will be there. Let me reduce this. For example, cat, okay, cascade, dislocate, locate, locket. Now here both the letters C and K are here. Here the letter K is not there, but still we have the sound which is K, like locate, dislocate. For example, disc. Even though the letter K is not there, but the sound K is there. So this particular letter, when we look at as an alphabet system, it's just a letter, but when we look at it as a sound, it's a K sound. So don't look at it as a letter K, but look at it as a sound. This is the fundamental aspect which you need to understand when it comes to the pronunciation in English language. You may not have exactly the same letter, but you need to understand what does the letter signify in terms of sound. Okay, say for example the K, we have examples on your screen which is dislocate, locate, locket, disc. So none of these words, or for example cascade or cat, none of these words have the letter K in it, but still it has the pronunciation which is K. So once you master this, you will be able to understand the importance of the consonant sound. Let me change the font size for you so that it's easier. The last one of the first line, which is a G sound, goat, magnify, big. Goat, magnify, big, sorry. Now the next set of sounds that I'm going to talk about is ch, j, th, the. Only 4 I'm going to take, rest I will pair it together later. Ch, for example, chain, discharge, march. Now there is an important point that you need to remember. Okay, so you will think CH, if it's together, that means it's a ch sound. For example, chain, discharge, charge. Alright, so that means this, for example, some more example, perch, search, chin, cheek, cheer, chair. So all these words has CH, that means it's a ch sound. But what if I have a word which is this? What if I have a word which is this? A word which is CHEMISTRY. Can I say chemistry? No. The pronunciation is chemistry. Now here, this is C-H-R-O-M-E. Can I say Chrome, like Google Chrome? No. The pronunciation is Google Chrome. So when you have a word, when you're comparing that, I have CH here. So let me remove this. So when I have CH, I say chin, cheek, cheer, chair. But here I say chemistry, chrome. You are obviously bound to get confused. Now the question is, why does this happen? It happens because that is how the word, the origin of the word is, that is how the pronunciation is designed. So that goes back to the root, that goes back to the origin of that particular word. The best way to understand how to pronounce these words is simple. Either you go to dictionary and look up for example. Now it may not be always possible to have a dictionary. Secondly, even if you have a dictionary, you can't understand how the pronunciation is. Now that everybody has internet or access to a system with internet, the best way to understand or learn pronunciation is Google. So I'll tell you how to do that. So open a Google page, enter the word, for example, chemistry. The moment you enter chemistry, it may not give you the pronunciation, right? So what you do, pronunciation of chemistry. What it does is, it immediately opens a YouTube page. And in the YouTube page, if you click, it will immediately give you what the pronunciation is. Now, if you want to have meaning as well as pronunciation, the best way to learn vocabulary along with pronunciation is just to type meaning of the word. Just say meaning of chemistry. What it will do is, it will immediately show you the results from dictionary. Underneath, there will be this particular icon. Let me zoom in the page so that you can see it clearly. So what I did, I went to Google. I just entered meaning of chemistry. It shows me the meaning of the word. It also gives me example. Now what I do is, I need to activate my speaker. So once I activate my speaker, I need to unmute it and I need to click here. So let me try and show you. So that's a sound shift. So once you click, the speaker of your system will automatically prompt how the word is pronounced. I'm not sure if you're able to hear this, but every time I click, it gives me the pronunciation of that particular word. So that's an easy way to learn pronunciation if you have access to a system. So please make the best use of internet. 90% of people, the moment they get a phone with internet connection, now that Jio is giving so much of data for such less price, we use that ocean of information to watch movies, to watch songs, to watch some videos on Facebook and Instagram. Instead of wasting that time, you can do that just half an hour, 1 hour a day. But you have an ocean full of information which is available for free. So you can make the best use of it and learn even pronunciation from internet. All right, let's continue. The next word or the next pronunciation that we need to understand is j. So we have ch and we have j. J, for example, joint, budget, charge. Now pay attention. The letter J is missing here for this particular word and for this particular word. So you need to be very, very sure how to pronounce it, and the best way to learn is either from dictionary or from Google. So j, joint, budget, charge, even though the letter is missing, but the sound is existing here. Then we have th, for example, think, breathless, bath. the, this rhythm, breathe. So B-R-E-A-T-H-E is breathe, B-R-E-A-T-H is breath. Breathe is a verb, breath is noun. Okay, now let's move forward. I'm going to take the next set of sounds. The first one is sir, seal, mistake, miss, z, zoo, disown, breeze, shallow, location, brush, that is for sure, and je, we don't have any word that starts with a je sound, but we have pleasure, measure, treasure, all these words where the sound is in the middle, and then we have beige where the sound is in the end. Now what happens usually is we make a mistake in terms of these two sounds. So let me quickly explain what do I mean by that. So I'm going to talk about the first one. For example, if I have the word which is student, a lot of people make a mistake and they pronounce this with a sh. Student. It's not student, it is student. All right. Now, when I have this particular word, which is zoo, disown, breeze. Now, this is a z sound. For example, zebra. For example, zone. For example, zeal. Okay. Now, what people make a mistake is they replace the z with a j. So what they do is they pronounce this as zebra, John, Jeel. So please don't make a mistake. The moment you replace the z with a j, it's a mispronunciation. It's not zebra, it's zebra. It's not John, it is zone. It's not Jeel, it is zeal. It's a z sound. Another mistake that people do is where they add a z sound where it's not needed. For example, listen. Now the listen word pronounced as l, e, s, li. So let me add a dash after that so that it's easier for you to understand. Okay, it's pronounced as li, s, n. Listen. They replace the s with a z and they say listen. It's not listen, it's listen. Even if I add ing, it's listening. You are not listening. I'm listening to music. It's not listening, it's listening. Clear? So don't make that mistake there. Now, as far as the sh and j is concerned, let me add it up here. So we have shallow, location, brush. Now, if you look at this particular word, the letter S and H is missing. But every word that ends with tion is not sh sound. For example, let me add an example here so that you can understand. So every theory that I'm going to talk about, I'm going to give you an example. For example, station. Now when I have station, I have station. The tion, basically I can say shion. Station, right? So tion means sh. Location, station, now dislocation, all these words, tion. Now imagine if I replace the word, I keep TION, but I replace the first 4 letters. Here what happens is, instead of saying question, I can't say question because TION is sh sound. No. When I have the word question, the TION becomes ch n. So it becomes question. Alright. So please keep this in mind. Every word is pronounced differently. You can't apply the same rule of law. Now, j sound, for example, pleasure, measure, treasure, beige, all these are the words where you have the j sound. Okay? Now, let's move on to the next set. F as in fun, often, tough. Now look at this. I have the pronunciation of f, but the letter f is missing. For example, if I have the word which is photograph, photography, photographer. So anything PHO here, it carries the function of a f, but the letter f is not there. So you got to be careful there as well. So you need to understand how it is pronounced. Clear? V, victory, level, brave, window, swift. That is the W. So now pay attention to way I pronounce or the way I make a difference between V and W. So V, when the moment you have a letter which has the V, it's a V sound, and the saying is bite your lips, kiss your, bite your V's and kiss your W's, which means if you have a V, you will bite your lower lip. V, for example, victory, level, brave. If you have water, William, swift, window, wherever you have W, you will make an O. For example, window. I can't say it window. It's not window, it's window. So bite your V's and kiss your W's. That is a fundamental difference between the V sound and the W sound. Alright? Let's move on to the next. We have H, R, Y, L. H, for example, hollow, adhere. So wherever you have the H sound, you may or may not have the H. R. Now this R is a soft R sound. It's not R. We can't call it as ring, market, charter. No, that's not how it's pronounced. It's a very soft sound. Ring, market, charter, chapter. All right. Year, yard, mayor, toy. L, listen, island, bottle. And the last set of sounds in consonant, M, for example, money, homework, groom. N, number, hunter, listen. NG, every time you have the letter N and G together, that's an ing sound. For example, English, ringing, ring, listening, anything that is with continuation form, ing, singing, dancing, writing, painting, playing, you have the ing sound in the end. All right. So with that, we have all the 24 sounds done. Now what we're going to do in tomorrow's session is we're going to have a list of words where all these sounds are present, and we're going to practice it, and I will also help you to identify where to find these sounds. All right. Whatever words you have which you are not sure how to pronounce, please send that to me. I will help you understand how to pronounce these words. So thanks for tuning in for today. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Hello everyone, welcome back to our discussion on how hackers can try to steal passwords of different sort of online accounts or our systems. So in our last sessions we were discussing about how actually a hacker can steal the password of a system if he has direct access to the computer, and then we were also discussing about sniffers where a hacker can steal the password of a user when user is logging in to a resource directly. So if he has direct access to the system or when a user is logging into the system, hacker is able to steal the passwords. But the limitation what we have discussed is, if a hacker has to sniff the traffic and capture the password, hacker should be present in the same network as the victim. But this may not be possible in all the cases. So in such cases, hacker will have to go with something called phishing attack. So here in phishing attack, hacker need not be in the same network as the victim. Hacker can be in a different location and still he will be able to steal the passwords. So let us see what actually happens in phishing attack and how does he steal our passwords. So here when we speak of phishing can be considered as one of the most easiest and also a very popular hacking attack, generally used to steal private information like user IDs, passwords, credit card details or any other sort of confidential data that belongs to an organization or a user. Now generally speaking of phishing attack, this is mostly done by using fake emails or through sending SMS messages or forum post, right? And now it is like a very popular attack on internet, wherein hacker can just try to create a fake web page which looks exactly similar to the original one, which helps him steal the passwords. So here generally speaking of what actually happens in phishing, so here hacker would send a link of a fake web page to the victim. So here when we speak of the fake web page, the web page will be designed in such a way it looks exactly similar to the original web page. So a page has to be designed in such a way that it has to look exactly similar to the original web page, and then hacker will have to host it on his computer, or maybe he can go with any third-party free website hosting providing services and then create a link of this particular page. So the link of this particular page will be sent to the victim, and once victim receives the link and he clicks on the user ID and password, his user ID and password will be captured by the hacker's server. So in short, phishing attack is where hacker is trying to create a fake login page and then he is trying to trick the end user to assume that this is the actual login page. Now there is a short video which explains what actually happens in phishing. So you receive an email or a message or a forum post which seems to be coming from your bank or maybe any of your social network website and all. So once you assume that this is a genuine link or this is a genuine message and you click on the link, all your details will be stolen. So this video is like a very old one, but it still says like around $3.2 billion are being stolen by hackers only through this phishing attack. Now again, phishing attack is not too difficult to make. It's very simple and also very easy. So let me show you how actually we perform this phishing attack and what all things are necessary for doing this phishing. So here when we speak of phishing attack, the first thing that we require is a fake login page. So we need a login page which will be used by the hacker, and then this login page is to be hosted on a web server application. So we can use our computer itself as a web server application and then host the web page. Now to trick the end user and get their computer's request to reach our computer, we would require a public IP address which can be taken from our internet service provider. So we'll have to request ISP to provide us with a public IP address, and once we have the public IP, we would also require a domain name, because when I send a link to someone, it generally looks good if there is a name associated. Now assume as a hacker I want to steal someone's Facebook password. So whatever the link that I am sending to the user, it should have something related to www.facebook.com. If there is something like this, end user would trust, okay, I am getting connected to Facebook. Instead of this, assume I am directly sending in the IP address, something like ISP has given me 123.48.129.21. So if I directly give this IP address, right, end user may not always trust the web page whatever he sees. And of course, again, this would only happen if the end user is actually looking into the address bar. So now let us question ourselves, do we really look into the address bar of a web browser? And how many times in a day do we actually access different websites, and how many times are we actually looking into the address bar? So here when we speak of looking into the address bar, generally we don't do that. Now let me show you how do we actually create a phishing page. So here I am trying to access the Facebook page. So this is the original web page, whatever is coming in from Facebook. Now I want to make a website which looks exactly similar to this. So I would require another login page which is looking exactly similar to the original Facebook page. Only then I will be able to create a phishing page. So here, for me to create a fake login page which looks exactly similar to the original Facebook page, I have two options. If I am very good in programming, I can write up the entire page using HTML or maybe PHP. But assuming I am not very good in programming, I have an alternate option. I can directly view the source code of this particular web page. So I just have to right click on the web page and select this option, view source code or view page source code. So here as we see, we are able to view the entire source code of this particular web page, what Facebook has written. So this is somewhere around 24 lines. So as I already said, I am not even into programming, so I am not even sure what actually they have written. I'll just copy everything. So blindly I'm just trying to copy the entire source code, and then I have to use an application called Notepad++. So for us to create the phishing page, I would require an application called Notepad++. This will be much better compared to a normal Notepad application when you are dealing with the HTML codes. So here I would say try to go with Notepad++. That is a free application. We don't require any license for this, and it is freely available for download. So here let me access my Notepad++ application. So here as you can see, this is how the Notepad++ application looks like, and all the source code what we have copied, let us just paste it here. So the entire source code what we have copied from the original Facebook web page, we will be pasting it into our Notepad++ application. Now let us once again go back to the original web page. So here as an end user, if I have to log in to my Facebook account, I am supposed to type in a username and a password and then click on login. So what Facebook is asking us to do is type a user ID, type a password, and then click on the login button. Now as we all know, this user ID and password what we type has to be sent to Facebook server for verification. So verification is not happening locally on our computer like on our desktop or our laptop. This user ID and password has to be sent to Facebook server. Now the key is actually in the login button. So once we click on this login button, our username and password will be sent to Facebook server, and that is already defined in the source code of the web page as an action. So here in the entire source code, there is a field which is defined as action equal to. So there is a field which has this action defined. So as a hacker, we have to look into this action. We'll have to see what actually happens here when a user clicks on the login button. So let us search for that action. So in this Notepad++, we already have the source code of the website. So let us search for this action equals to. sometimes you may have multiple action fields given, so you just have to verify what actually the action field says. So here the action field in this particular web page says, once you type a user ID and password, that has to be sent to https www.facebook.com/login/device-based regular login/login. So here it is actually going on into the login page of that particular Facebook account, and the method being used is post method. Post method means they are trying to send something to the web server. So here when I want to create a phishing page, I don't want user ID and password to be sent to Facebook server. So what I will be doing is, I will select the entire URL here, whatever is defined in the action field, and I am going to delete it. So now if you actually look into the action field, we don't have anything. There is nothing defined here. So at this time, even if someone types a user ID and password and clicks on login button, nothing will happen. That is because you did not define any action for the login button. So here, being a hacker, my intention is to capture this username and password and save it on my computer. To do that, I will execute my own script called fb.php. So this is my own script which will capture the username and password, whatever is typed by the end user, and save it on my computer. Now let me show you what actually the fb.php script looks like. So here it is. So this particular script is trying to open a notepad file called fb.txt and then write the handle and the variable. So here when we actually look into the handle, so the handle is the name of this particular field. So here for this field the name is given as email, and for this particular field the name is given as password. So here it is going to write the field name and whatever the data that end user types in. So it is going to type in the handle name and also the value. So value is nothing but the user ID or password, whatever end user is typing into the fake web page. And once the data has been saved onto our notepad file, then user will be redirected back to the original web page, https www.facebook.com. So overall the scenario looks like this. You will be receiving a message or a mail or maybe a forum post which says that there are some special features available in Facebook which you can also activate by clicking on the below link. So you can click on the link, you will see a login page where you type the username and password and say login. And once you click on login, immediately you will be seeing the same login page. So this would have happened multiple times with you all. So generally what we assume when we see such a behavior, you try to type the user ID and password, you say login, but still the same login page is being displayed. We always keep thinking like maybe there is some problem with our internet connection, or maybe our session was not accepted properly, or maybe the session was reset. Or sometimes we may also go ahead and think like maybe because this particular invitation is not directly given to me by Facebook, they are not accepting my user ID and password there. But we will never think, or we will never suspect, maybe someone is trying to steal our user IDs and passwords. But unfortunately the reality is someone is trying to steal our user IDs and passwords when these kind of things happen. So here we have the original Facebook page source code, and the action has been defined as fb.php. So we have made all the necessary changes, and now let us save this particular page. Now before we continue to save the page, as I said, we would require a web application for hosting the fake login page. So here I have two different pages, a HTML page, whatever is the original login page from Facebook, and a PHP page which is our script which is trying to steal the user IDs and passwords. So we would require a web application which can handle both HTML as well as PHP. So for this I would prefer to go with Apache web server, which is also open source and free application, and this Apache server can be installed on our Windows computers as well, not just with Linux or Unix. Now for hosting it, I have used an application here called XAMPP. Now here as you can see, XAMPP application gives us with Apache server. So I'm going to use this Apache server to host our fake web page or the phishing page. So when you speak of the default location, where exactly we have to save the web pages and what is the location of this and all, let me show you where exactly we have this default location for the fake web page. So that will be under C drive, folder called XAMPP htdocs. So for our reference, this will be the default location where we are going to save our web pages. C XAMPP htdocs. So the fake web page what we have created now will be saved into this particular location, C XAMPP htdocs. And always remember this thing, you'll have to save your default page as index.html, because index.html will be considered as a home page of any website. So now in Notepad++ application, whatever the source code we have to save this as index.html into this location, C XAMPP htdocs. So let us do that. So I'm going to save this particular page in htdocs folder as index.html. So once we save it, as you can see, Notepad++ application has identified the type of document that we have saved. So it says that this is a HTML file based on the extension what we have used, and it is also highlighting all the HTML codes. Okay, so now what we have done so far is like we are trying to access the fake web page. So we are trying to access the original web page of Facebook, copy the entire source code, put it on Notepad++, make the necessary changes in the action field, and then save this particular fake web page. Now once the web page has been saved, let us start our Apache server. So once Apache server has been started, we can verify if our web page is working properly or not. So in my web browser, I'll just type in localhost to verify if my web page is properly working or not. So here as you can see, there is a fake web page what I have hosted. So let me just put it here. So there is a fake web page what I have hosted. Looks exactly similar to the official page or the original page, and this is the original page from Facebook. Now the only way for us to differentiate between a phishing page and a genuine page is by really looking into the address bar. Now in the address bar, if it says something like HTTPS, if it is having HTTPS link, it means you are actually connected to the original site. Because for a phishing page, hacker will never be able to create a HTTPS session. So a phishing page will always be as plain text or HTTP page. So the way how we can differentiate is by looking into the address bar to see whether it is a HTTPS web page or a HTTP web page. Now as we already said, hacker will always try to create a domain name. So here you can create some domain like www.facebook.com. So if it is an original page, it will be like www.facebook.com. But if it is a phishing page, always remember it will have some additional content, like say facebook.com dot something else, like say friend request dot some xyz.com or something. So you will always see there is some additional content after the keyword www.facebook.com. And again here the trick is to make sure that end user would believe whatever he sees on the web page. Now the moment we see www.facebook.com, our mind would automatically say, yes, you are connected to the actual web page, and we will never continue to read the entire URL. So that's a normal behavior, and hackers are just trying to take an advantage of this behavior here. And the worst thing, if you are opening up this particular link on your mobile phone or something, you don't even have space to completely display the entire URL. You don't even have the required space there, and your mobile screen is very narrow. So hardly you will see only half of this, you will not even see the entire URL. So this just tricks the end user to believe that whatever the web page you see is an actual web page, and then to send a request to the end user, hacker can send it in form of a forum post or a WhatsApp message or an SMS message or an email. So here I have already sent an email to my victim. So let us see how actually this email looks like. So here, as you can see, I am logging into the Gmail of my victim's account, and here it says that there is a message coming in from Facebook mailer. So obviously you will think that this message is really coming in from Facebook, and here you see that it is directly landing into my inbox, not even directly going on into the spam or something. So now let me just try to open this message and see what actually is the content and how it looks like. So here, as you can see, it says that some person, some Jennifer, wants to be my friend on Facebook. So this is how you will always receive a message like there is a friend request by someone, right? And now generally what happens in most cases, end user would not think like, okay, if there is a friend request, let me log into my Facebook account and accept it or verify this. So generally what we do, we are all used to clicking on, okay, confirm the friend request here. Now once you click on confirm friend request, you see the Facebook login page. And once you have the Facebook login page, because this is the same web page that we have been seeing for so many years, right? Your mind will automatically say, yes, this is a genuine page, so why not? Let us directly log in and accept the friend request. Okay, good. Now let us type in some user ID and password. So I'm typing it as test@gmail.com, and I'm giving my password as 1234567890. So this is a user ID and password I have given. Now what I will do is I'll just say login. Now once we click on login, of course your browser automatically gives you a prompt, do you want me to remember the password? Let me skip this, and as you can see here, you are again getting the same login page. So your browser would not suspect that there is something wrong. It doesn't even give you with any kind of warning message or a caution. It just shows you the Facebook page. In the first attempt, that is a fake web page which is given by the hacker. You have typed your user ID and password, and then you say login, then you are automatically redirected back to the original Facebook page. And because hacker has used the same source code as the original Facebook page, both the web pages looks similar. You don't see any kind of difference there. Now we'll go back to the hacker's computer and see if the Facebook password has been captured. So here there is a notepad fb.txt which was created now, and here as we can see, the email address was captured as test@gmail.com and password 1234567890. So this is the user ID and password what I have typed in the phishing page. So this is how, if you come across any message or a mail or a WhatsApp content or something where they give you with some sort of a message, like you can try to click on the below link to activate some account or to activate some new features. And nowadays if you see, this is actually increasing in through different sort of WhatsApp messages. They say like because of the recent sale which Amazon and Flipkart has done, there are so many products which were purchased by so many people, and because they are not satisfied with the product or something, they have returned it. Now Amazon is not able to resell the same product because the packaging and the content was open. So they are just conducting a lucky draw where few of the Amazon customers will be selected and the products will be given away for free. So to participate in the account, just click on the link, log in with your Amazon login details, that is your email address and password, or maybe log in and then try to add some Amazon Pay balance of 1000 rupees or 2000 rupees, which will make you eligible for this kind of lucky draw. Now end user who is not suspecting that something is wrong with this kind of messages, because he is not aware of phishing attack or what happens there, he will just click on the link, try to type in his user ID and password, and then also click on the second link which says try to add some balance or maybe try to update his Amazon Pay account, so that he will be eligible for this and he can win some mobile phones or TVs or something else. So these are how hackers are able to trick end users and steal the user IDs and passwords, or sometimes even the credit card information, net banking details and all this. And this is nothing new. Phishing attack has been happening for a very long time. So this is not something that hackers have started in the recent times. So phishing attack is one of the oldest technique, and at the same time is also successful. But when you speak of phishing attack, there is only one drawback, or we can say only one limitation with this particular phishing attack. The limitation is you are only getting one password. Like say you are creating a phishing page for Facebook page, you are only getting the Facebook password. But at the same time, let us say you also want to get the Google password or Twitter password of a user. You'll have to create multiple phishing pages. You'll have to create a phishing page for Twitter, you'll have to create a phishing page for Gmail, you'll have to create a phishing page for LinkedIn. So like this, for every password that you require or every password that you are planning to steal, you will require a separate phishing page. Now the unfortunate thing is, even though you are ready to make multiple phishing pages, is there a guarantee that end user would access all the phishing links that we create? Now maybe we can trick the end user once or twice, but we will not be successful in tricking him in every moment and every time. So basically phishing has a limitation of its own, that you will only be able to see one of the password, not all the passwords. So here hackers have come up with a different approach, a new method where hacker will be able to steal all different passwords of a user even though they are not connected to the same network. So that is called as keyloggers or keylogging. So let us see what actually keylogging is. So here when we speak of keyloggers, these are actually malwares, or we can say malicious softwares. Malicious means something dangerous or something unwanted, or we can also say like it is harmful. So keylogger comes under a category called spyware, which is actually monitoring all the user activities. So spyware is a malicious software or a malware or a dangerous application which helps the hacker to monitor all the activities of a user. So here when we speak of keyloggers, again these keyloggers are of both hardware and also software. So we have hardware keyloggers and also software keyloggers. So let us see what actually a keylogger does, and then we will see practically what hackers can do using the keylogger. So here when we speak of a keylogger, this can either be a hardware or a software which is designed to capture all the user activities. Now what sort of user activities keylogger would capture? Things like your keystrokes, like what all things you are typing on the keyboard. It also captures your screenshots, like what all activities you are trying to do or what all applications you are trying to access. It takes a screenshot of it. It will also maintain a list of all the websites what you are trying to access or what you are trying to log in. Or maybe you are trying to purchase something on a website, online shopping. You are trying to type in your net banking details or your credit card information. Keylogger will capture all these things. Or maybe you are just logging into your email account or a social network account. Keylogger captures all that and then forwards this information to the hacker. So keylogger will capture all the user activities and then send it back to the hacker. So here when we speak of keyloggers, as I said, we have two different types of keyloggers, like hardware keyloggers and software keyloggers. So let me show you how actually they look like. So let me do a simple Google search for hardware keyloggers. So here when you speak of a hardware keylogger, this is how they look like. So you have to connect a keylogger between the CPU and the keyboard cable. So whatever the cable that's coming in from your keyboard, instead of directly connecting it to the CPU, you will connect it to the hardware keylogger, and from hardware keylogger you will further connect it back to the end user's computer. Now the job of this hardware keylogger is to capture all the keystrokes, what all things end user is trying to type. Hardware keylogger would capture all that and then save it. Now once all the keylogs have been saved, hacker can take back this hardware keylogger and then connect it back to his computer and see what all user IDs and passwords end user has typed. Now this one is a USB type, and similarly we also have a PS2 type keyboard keylogger. So here this is for the PS2 link. So whether your keyboard is a USB or a PS2 type, in both the conditions a hardware keylogger will be able to capture your details. Now the thing is, when you speak of a hardware keylogger, there are certain limitations or certain disadvantages. Now the first limitation is, when you speak of a hardware keylogger is actually visible to the end user. So when you take up a keylogger and attach it to victim's computer, if victim is aware of what all cables or what all things get connected to his computer, he can very easily identify that there is some additional device or there is an attachment connected to my computer. Now that will always raise some doubts on the victim side. What is this additional device? I don't remember connecting this. So let me just try to remove it and check if my keyboard is working or not. So he'll just try to unplug that, connect the keyboard directly and start accessing the computer. And of course everything works fine, so he'll just remove that. But even before coming up to this stage, how do we connect a hardware keylogger to victim's computer? So to connect a hardware keylogger to victim's computer, you actually have to have physical access to the victim's machine. So you need to go with the victim's computer, right? You'll have to go to the victim's computer